we have been sleeping on Gyrados EX. And I mean, maybe not we, but because I know somebody out there is going to say, I built this day one. I was a Gyarados truther. And you know what? More power to you. I've been sleeping on Gyarados EX. I initially tried him and thought, this would be a really good card. And I built him with Vaporeon, thinking it would offer some like flexibility in being able to shift that energy around, but it felt more clunky than anything, where there was some tension between what you actually wanted to build up and what you were doing some of the time. And so this version resolves that. This deck has been taking the last couple of big tournaments by storm. It came out of what to me felt like nowhere, and in a 700, almost 700 person tournament, it had about a 6% share of the metagame itself, and overall was maintaining a 60% win rate. That is everybody that decided to run the deck, their win percentage. And then now in Ursa Day's tournament, that is still ongoing, but it reflects very much the same thing. In her tournament, there were 1,500 people that checked in and were competing, and of those 1,500, 8.31% of that share, that metagame share, was Gyarados Greninja, and it still had a 59.66% win rate, taking into account all 127 people that brought that deck into the tournament. They are holding collectively a 60% win rate, which is crazy, because when you look at Mewtwo, it's holding a 44% win rate, Celebi, 45, because as you get a bigger share of the metagame, obviously your win rate is going to go down because some people don't navigate it as well. But in this case, they are dominating. There are at least 3 that are going to make it to the top cut of this 1,500 person tournament with Gyrados EX. Now, of course, this is somewhat able to happen because Pikachu has taken a kind of step back from the metagame with the introduction of Celebi and the surge of Mewtwo. Pikachu kind of took a step back. Pikachu is the biggest counter to this Gyarados Greninja style of deck. And when those matchups happen, most of the time, the navigator of the Gyarados deck is going to lose. I think it's something like a 25% win rate. Every other deck this deck dominates against. Mewtwo is something like a 78% win rate from all of the Gyarados matching into Mewtwo. Absolutely insanity. And whenever you stop to kind of think about why it works, it really makes sense. There's a couple of ways to build this. You could go just Gyarados plus Druddigon, plus like a regular basic Articuno. The idea is that you just want to stall and block the opponent until you get your Gyarados or find your Gyarados and get him online, because after that, he can kind of sweep. He can tank most shots. He can tank a shot from just about everything except for Charizard, and otherwise, he's one-shotting almost everything in the game. He's not able to one-shot Mewtwo, but that's where the Greninja or the Druddigon comes in. If the Druddigon or Greninja gets to do just one little bit of chip damage onto the Mewtwo, he is now within one-shot KO range, which is beautiful. In today's version, we run 1 copy of Leaf and 1 X-Speed. I did see a couple of versions that do decide to go 2 Leafs instead. Sometimes I like the X-Speed for either that early game flexibility where it doesn't really matter that it's only a 1 retreat cost, or for being able to use it right after Professor's Research. Sometimes Professor's Research is going to come in clutch, find that X-Speed for you that you need to then go ahead and pivot, and you couldn't do a Leaf same turn as Professor's Research. So the most common version of this deck is going to run 2 copies of both the Magikarp Gyarados line, the Froakie Frogadier Greninja, and then 2 copies of Druddigon. Now, the idea is you want to find your Druddigon or try to find your Druddigon early. If not, you're going to be trying to sacrifice and have your Froakie take the damage, because Froakie at the end of it is a sacrificial lamb. He is not the game winner. He is sometimes a little bit of chip damage. If you have the worst case scenario, yeah, sometimes he can be like that frontline damage that you need. If you have a Magikarp, you want to always be focusing on adding the energy onto that so that you can get your Gyarados online as fast as possible. Between the Druddigon, the other Druddigon, and then Froakie, we usually have enough delay of the opponent to be able to find a way to get into Gyarados so that we can sweep the game from there. For our trainers, we have double Professor's Research, double Pokeball, double Misty. You don't necessarily lean heavily onto the Misty in this deck, but if you get ahead of curve, even by 1 energy, it can make a big difference. So double Misty, if it's a water deck, it's an auto include. And then we have the 1 Leaf and the 1 Speed. Now, I did see a couple of versions that dropped the Greninja line altogether because honestly, he's a backup character. He is a sidekick. He is not the main hero of the deck. And so you could drop that all together for the one copy of Articuno so that you have a better chance of finding your Druddigon, of finding your Magikarp early, and then that frees up extra space for additional trainers like Giovanni, Sabrina, or whatever else you want to bring into the mix. But I'm kind of partial to Greninja. I really like him. I don't think in my set of 9 games that I ran, I ever got to evolve him early enough for it to make a huge difference. But I think maybe one game he actually made a difference. Otherwise, he's just that backup sacrificial lamb, where if you get him online, nice. Most of the time, he's just going to be a body for you. If you pulled and have wanted to use Gyrados EX, this is the deck for you. When I was testing this out, I did about 5 games ahead of time, won every single one of those. I sat down to record, played 9 games, won 8 of them, and lost 1 because my evolution, my Gyradoses were at the very bottom of the deck. And sometimes that's going to happen. There's not anything you can really do about that, but I won the other 8 against a wide array of different decks and different players, and it felt incredible the entire time. We're going to go ahead and jump over into a couple of games. Thank you guys, as always, for being here. I hope you guys enjoy. All right, we are going second, so we get the first energy attachment, which is great. I'm going to go Magikarp into Froakie. Because we're going second, and they can't possibly have an early attack on us, we have the Pokeball, which we have 2 out of 4, so a 50-50 chance to use the Pokeball and get a Druddigon, which is going to be our staller. And so then we can attach the energy onto Magikarp, switch it out for free. If they were going first and we thought they might have a 30 damage attack, like right off the jump, we don't want to lead with Magikarp. But let's go Pokeball, hope for Druddigon. Beautiful. And we have the Gyarados evolution. The Froakie is just kind of another staller. If you get him online, sometimes his little chip damage is very needed and very helpful. Most of the time, it's just that. It's just a staller, a free sacrifice, a pivot, where we're not adding any energy, and he potentially serves value. He potentially does a little bit of chip damage throughout the game, similar to our Druddigon, but our big damage dealer is the Gyarados. So the double Ralts, do they have the evolution on? No, they don't have the first evolution. They did get a Pokeball, but no other draws yet. Let's check out the Misty. Most of the time I expect 0. It's always just a pleasant surprise when we get, 1 to however many and get ahead of the curve that way. Let's see. Ooh, that is at least 1. It always feels like if we get at least 1, it's a lot easier to get that second or even third one. And so let's go ahead and I'm going to evolve into the Gyarados. A lot of times their deck can and often does run red card, and so I don't want to take anything to chance. We're going to take the win. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, we are going second. We get the first energy attachment. We're going up against Grass, but as long as we get Gyarados online, we are good to go. And since we're going second, I kind of hope we find a Pokeball or a basic Pokemon so that we can pivot out of the Magikarp. I don't want to accidentally lose the Magikarp on turn 1, but since we get the first, it's going to take them at least 2 turns to build up any of their attacks. So actually, we're fine. We don't need to even pull the Magikarp out. The Snivy, the Double Celebi, the Pokeball. Is that a second? No, that's a first Pokeball. The Pokeball to be able to pull out an alternate card and thin their deck is beautiful. Such a good start for them. We do get the Pokeball here. Go ahead and use it. See what we pull. Backup Magikarp. Okay. Let's throw the backup Magikarp, I suppose. I'm going to go ahead and do the Misty because I don't think there's any scenario where they attach 1 card and beat us. If they have a Giovanni, they could, and like an X speed or a Leaf, no, an X speed. They could attack with a Delmas and kill the Magikarp. I don't think they have room for a Giovanni. Ah, man, it didn't matter anyways. All right, if that's the case, I'm going to go ahead. I'm still going to build up onto this frontline one. Fine. And we have the double Gyarados evolution. The big Misty would have been nice, but I never expect it. Them having the Servine on curve makes me very worried for the Superior line. Because then, after that point, Celebi just starts throwing absolute hands. And I don't know that there would be anything we could do unless we got, like, incredibly lucky. But I think for the most part, we'd be out of luck. Let's evolve both Gyarados here. Throw the second water energy onto Gyarados. And then, if we survive, a lot of ifs happening. If we survived, and Misty gave us 1 energy at least, we could attack. Otherwise, we are in a very rough spot. Okay, so no Superior, thank goodness. We are guaranteed to live here. Even with Superior, they would have had 4 coin flips. They would have had to hit 3 out of the 4. No, they would have had to hit 4 out of 4, which we likely would have lived, but it would have been a lot more reliant on the attack this turn. So we get the Misty, hope for at least 1 heads, putting as much good vibes into the coin as possible. And it we willed it over to the left side. All right, so now we can attack with the Gyarados. Let's go ahead and build up this backline one since we have the extra energy. And then we just start churning through the Celebi. Had we missed that, it would have, depending on what they flipped, we could have either lost or gotten lucky and won. It also kind of depended on if they got Superior or not. Because if not, they would have had to hit 3 for 3, which also would have been tough. If they get Superior now, I don't think there's a way that they win. Because Superior, they're going to be able to flip 2. They can't destroy us with the 2. And we're good to go. We're building up quickly, but we built up quicker. We'll take the win. Let's go ahead and jump over into the next one. Okay, we are going second here against the Psychic deck. There shouldn't be anything that knocks us out from them in 1 turn. Psyshot is a bit scary though, because if they have a Giovanni, I don't think any Mewtwo decks make room for Psychic, but if they did, then they could potentially knock us out. Or we find the Druddigon, and it doesn't matter. Let's do Druddigon. I'm going to go ahead and do Misty and see what we see. If we get 3, 4 heads here, then we could attack next turn, which would be crazy. I always expect 0, and it's a pleasant surprise when that's not the case. Let's attach onto Magikarp and Abra, like agility, leap him out of there into the Druddigon. And then next turn, we'll go ahead and evolve into the Gyarados, just in case they Sabrina or make us pivot somehow, or for whatever reason have like backline damage. A lot of times I like to, especially if I know the opponent's deck and like know they don't have a red card, in certain decks I like to hold that evolution until I need it, so that I can have that like element of surprise. But I only do that if I'm not weak or susceptible to like a Sabrina or something that's going to put me in danger of losing that Pokemon altogether. Whoa, they do go Sabrina, but now they can't do Giovanni, which is nice. It's a bit rude, but okay, I get it. We get the Pokeball, which is nice. Sheesh. Okay, let's Pokeball. We go Froakie. Good to see. So Froakie will go with our X speed. You're not gonna be able to force us into the Magikarp again. X speed so that we don't burn the energy on him. We also don't want to waste the attack, because I do want to go ahead and evolve him. And we don't feel so bad about wasting the X speed because we do have Leaf in hand, which would allow us to retreat out the Druddigon for free. So let's go ahead and end it there. And Mew with its little Psyshot is going to be either chipping away at itself or have to wait an extra turn until it gets Dragon Rage, which then they wouldn't be able to one-shot us with our Dragon Claw. I guess not Dragon Rage, my goodness, Dragon Claw. Mewtwo's coming down, no Ralts, so not a great draw from them. Okay, they do attack so that... Wait, no, they didn't add energy onto the Mew, so no genome hacking to worry about. Good. I like to see it. Let's go Professor's Research. The Greninja, and then another Professor's Research. But no Frogadier. I have the hardest time evolving Greninja. Like I feel like most of the time I don't. And the good thing with Greninja in this deck is he's a backline like sacrificial lamb, honestly. All right, they did find the Ralts, but they're at a loss for what to do next. So they build on. Ooh, okay, they build onto the Mewtwo, and they have Giovanni. Okay, okay. Interesting. We smack them with the rough skin, which is also fine. And I guess now that would put them within range of being able to knock us out with the Mewtwo. We're not going to let that happen. Let's do Leaf before we do something that we forget and play like the Professor's Research, and then we can't do the easy retreat. But we're going to get the Gyarados online. I'm going to throw in our backup Magikarp. Not that we normally need it, but if they make us pivot, we can always sacrifice it. Let's knock out the Mew. And then now, they wouldn't be able to do their big attack on the Mewtwo because they don't have the Greninja not the Greninja, the Gardevoir possibility. It would be a 2-shot, which gives us time to like be able to win with whatever else in the back line. Whether that be our Froakie flop, whether that be, I guess, tanking a hit with Druddigon. That doesn't feel great, though. So they build up their Psychic. I'm hoping for a Frogadier, because we do have the Professor's Research, which helps us potentially find it. We could also... No. Even if we got the discard on their energy, as long as they have the Gardevoir, they're fine. They can knock out our Gyarados. It's just, can we knock them out from there? There's the Frogadier that I hold near and dear to my heart. It took us most of our deck, but we found it. We found it eventually. This one is ready to go, ready to attack still, so I'm going to attach onto the Frogadier just for whatever reason if we need to do some decent damage with our Greninja next turn. Then we'd be able to do the 80. But they don't have any tokens right now, so they take out the Gyarados. We're not at risk of anything. If they have a backup Mewtwo, it's fine too. We would absolutely survive. So they knock out the Gyarados, and then it's 10 HP. Even if they have potions built in, we're just waiting for them to either concede or realize. There is no winning play. We will take the win. Let's go ahead and jump over into the next one. All right, we are going first here. We get the first evolution, so a Froakie, I'm just saying. A Froakie would be a sight for sore eyes. Maybe heal us just a little bit, you know? It would heal our inner wounded child. Druddigon's nice. And I'm going to save the Misty, because as nice as it would be to do a 10 damage attack on turn 1, that's not where we need our energy, and my worst fear would be that we would get like 100 heads, and then we waste them on Greninja, who just needs 2. So we have the Druddigon. Next turn, we could pivot into it if we wanted to waste an energy. And if we don't have a Magikarp, probably worth wasting the energy. They have the Snivy now. They have the Delmas, which I like the idea of Delmas. I just don't think it provides the value that it needs to in most of the time. All right. Magical Pokeball. Find us Magikarp. Never the ones you want to see. Oh, well. It does thin our deck just a touch, and so that's fine, too. Since we don't have the Magikarp, we don't need to be building anybody up, necessarily. So I'm going to attach and then retreat into the Druddigon. If they go with a Sabrina, that's fine. That we're making them burn their resources early for not even being able to get a KO. So they go Professor's Research. They're looking for their evolution line. I'm hoping that we don't see the Servine come down. If we do, it's fine, but okay, so good. They attach the second one onto the Delmas. We're going to be doing just a little bit of damage, as much damage as they're doing to us, we are doing to them, which is beautiful about the Drudagon. We have the second Drudagon. I am not going to drop it, because then we would be locked in, and we couldn't get a Magikarp down on the board. And so we're going to go ahead and add the energy, and then just continue to skip, and hope for the best. They've gotten a little bit more draw than us, but not a whole lot. Just at this point, one. They have found one of their Professor's Researches, so every extra turn that we get, we have that opportunity to find the Professor's Research. Or, honestly, another Pokeball would guarantee that we draw into the Magikarp. Alright, so Professor's Research. We need a Magikarp. Misty, X-Speed, no! Oh my gosh! We have 2 Magikarps and a Pokeball in the bottom million, unfortunate. And 2 Froakies. So 2 Froakies, which would allow us to get the Greninjas. So 2 Froakies, 1 Pokeball, and then 2 Magikarps. So 5 of our bottom 7 would have been useful there. None of what we got was useful. Absolutely 0 of what we got was useful. Oh. He's what it is. At this point, they have the extra energy, or they can have the extra energy onto their Telmis to do the 90 damage instead of 70. They find the Servine, and so I am certain that they have a Superior locked and loaded for next. That's an awful set of draws. We had a good start, but just did not find the pieces we needed. We don't have another Pokeball. I guess I've used both. My bad. Never mind. And so now it's, I guess, 4 out of 7. It's not 5 out of 7. I take it back. All right, so potion before they absolutely obliterate us, right? That's what I imagine. Oh. Okay, Drudagon is gone. Let's throw into the weaker Froakie. Find the Magikarp. Find the magic in the Magikarp. Still no evolution with the Froakie line. So let's go ahead and burn 1 Misty here. See what we hit. See what we find. 4 heads into a Gyarados. Maybe salvages the run. Okay. 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 Or, actually, yeah. I was thinking we could maybe... I lost my head for a second. I thought we could do it this turn, but we absolutely cannot. Do we ever? Yeah, I think we do. I think we go ahead and energy retreat, because we don't need the extra now that Magikarp is just stacked. We also have a leaf in the bottom 6, right? So Magikarp is stacked, ready to evolve. We have the Drudagon up front. If we need to, we can attach an energy to him, do X speed to retreat him out. They do have the Superior, which is, I mean, honestly, at this point, they would have. They should have it at this point. And so Giovanni, whoa, they can one-shot us. That's fine. We were just looking to stall for 1 turn anyways. But I don't like the fact that now they could hit us with a Sabrina and win the game. That's why I wanted the 10 remaining on him, so that we still had that extra prize to linger, so that Sabrina wouldn't be as big of an issue. Man. We still don't have the Frogadier. Oh dear. No other Magikarp either. Magikarp's hanging at the bottom 5. Professor's Research, Magikarp, and 2 Frogadiers. Oof. Not great luck. But if they happen to not have Sabrina built into the deck for some reason, might be okay. Probably not. We probably lose to the Celebi. But our chances aren't zero. So a Celebi deck is one, like there's some decks where you just know that you've lost because it's those guaranteed effects. Celebi is one that you always might as well gamble, even if it's like a 10% chance that you live. You might as well do the gamble. So like even if they have a Sabrina pivot, we would go Froakie, and then they would have to hit, yeah, they do have the Sabrina pivot, which is expected. They still have to hit 2 heads out of the 4, and so they have to hit odds. There's a chance that they only hit 1 or none. And so regardless, we might as well, stay here and watch. That Giovanni came in very handy for him. Good start. Celebi, you can't hurt us anymore. Can't hurt us anymore, Celebi. Oh my goodness. For everybody that is struggling with Celebi, just soak in those times when they just absolutely whiff versus the times where they get 100% the heads flip rate. We'll go ahead and take the win that we got a little bit lucky on. Jump over into the next one. All right, we are going first, and we start with double Druddigon, which is, I think the missing piece for this deck. Being able to have that chip damage onto a Mewtwo so that we can take it out in one turn with the Gyarados, and just kind of that frontline staller that we don't need to add energy to is phenomenal. Okay, so double Greninja, we have the Frogadier, we're just looking for Froakie, we're looking for Magikarp, which is fine. We can't attach energy this turn. We don't necessarily need to force the evolution. It is nice to get some other basic down early, but the double Druddigon will buy us some time. And it looks like they're running a water deck with Pidgey, and so I'm assuming it's maybe the Pidgeot EX. Maybe it's one copy of each. And then what? Articuno? Interesting. And Star are you? The Pidgey just doesn't feel like it fits here. What is going on? We do get the Magikarp. The first turn we're able to add energy, which is beautiful. Now we're just looking for and waiting for a Misty or biding our time until we get enough to pivot into the Gyarados and we just unleash havoc. So they get a Misty. Not good. They did Professor's Research last turn, right? That's not a... Oh, man. And so 2 heads. That gives them enough for a Blizzard. If they had an X-Speed or if they wanted to retreat the Pidgey, they'd be in a really, really good spot. I'm not going to throw the next Magikarp because I do want a Froakie so that we can evolve it into Frogadier and Greninja since we do have the cards for it. Let's go ahead and evolve into the Gyarados. We have Leaf. If you believe me, we can use it to retreat out the Druddigon for free. But we still need to find Froakie. Misty would help us kind of curve into a turn a bit earlier. Or we just kind of are at their mercy. And so they do get the Articuno up and in the front line. They have a Pidgeot, or they have a Pidgeotto looking to evolve into a Pidgeot. I'm curious if it's going to be the version that wants to run like the basically a Sabrina every turn. If so, it might be problematic. There is our Froakie, which is nice to see. We always welcome a Froakie. Go ahead and build into the Gyarados. Next turn we can go Froakie, then Greninja, and then we're doing a little bit of chip damage or pop damage. It's not always super necessary. Sometimes we just use it as like a secondary burner, and we just let them kill that second basic Pokemon, or second one token or one prize Pokemon, so non-EX. Potion on the Articuno is fine. If they do Blizzard and nothing else, we pivot into the Gyarados, we one-shot the Articuno, and then what from there do they have? The Starmie EX wouldn't one-shot us with the Gyarados, because Gyarados is pretty stacked, pretty tanky. So I don't know that they have a way to win. Maybe with a Pidgeot EX? I don't know that that's enough, though. I don't know. Let's go Pokeball. We'll pull out another Froakie. Do we want to go that? Or do we want to start maybe building up another Magikarp / Gyarados? Just in case we need to do some kind of weird pivot. I don't think we'll ever need to, but just in case, we're gonna do the Magikarp. Let's go with the Whirlpool, and then we'll see. It could be that we discard energy from ourselves and we have to attach another one next turn. If so, that's perfectly fine. Okay, so Pidgeotto. I assume they are wanting to evolve into Pidgeot. It's based off of what we have in our... No. They do. They can make us pivot. It's fine. We have 3 basics on the back line. Like, you can drive us off all you want. Let's sacrifice the Magikarp. Just... Poor little guy. Hey, we did get the backup Frogadier. So we could have evolved into Frogadier, another Froakie, or another Greninja. They don't need to know that we had the Greninja. We will go ahead and take them out. And jump over into the next one. All right, we are going first here. We start with the Druddigon, which is great. I had a game that I skipped and I didn't showcase where I did lose with the deck. But Gyarados was in my bottom. Both Gyarados and both of my professor's research were in the bottom 8. And I just couldn't pull it for the life of me. And so like sometimes that's just gonna happen. We do find our second Druddigon. And then that helps us be kind of resistant to a Sabrina switch. And so now they can't force us into the Magikarp while he's weak. And we do get another Pokeball. And so Froakie here would be good. Good. And so now, if we can find the Frogadier, beautiful. And actually, in the rest of the bottom 8 in that deck was the double Greninjas, because I didn't get the full evolution once. It was a rough game. I took one for the team. Now everybody else can do well with it. I did horrible. So they start with a Misty, and they hit a Tails, which is beautiful. Not absolutely necessary, but it is very, very nice to see. Let's evolve into the Gyarados just in case any shenanigans happen. And then we are just strictly building up onto the Gyarados. I didn't like the decks that had like a Vaporeon, and then you build onto it, it has an expensive retreat cost, and you just had to have this weird dynamic of where you were actually wanting to build your energy, and then if that energy got taken out in a KO, it became a lot trickier to get your Gyarados online. And honestly, Gyarados is the backbone of that deck anyways. And so Vaporeon didn't end up working out as well as I thought. Druddigon works out so much better by being that wall. Being able to stall long enough for us to get online, and then after that, it doesn't matter. Let's go with not the Leaf. Let's go with Misty. See if we can get 2 heads. 2 heads would give us attack potential this turn. Or Tails, that's fine. I come to expect it with Misty. She's just there as that added bonus. Some games she'll get you online a little bit faster, but most of the time I just assume it's going to be a dud. But it feels bad not including it. Not absolutely necessary, especially when you have the Druddigon line. So they have the Articuno, they have their Starmie, and then they have the Professor's Research. So they have a pretty deep deck. And a Pokeball. Oh, I mean, we had some pretty good draw too. So they're not like outrageously ahead of us in cards. But they do have their Articuno online, so that is a bit scary. We're gonna lead into the Druddigon. If they have a Sabrina, we sacrifice the Froakie. Gyarados is our sweeper. He is our main reason for the deck. He is what performs well in it. We don't want to sacrifice him for anything, especially since he's holding all of our energy. So let's go ahead and we'll end here. And then if they don't, I don't know. Maybe they wait until Drudagon's dead. We go Gyarados, then they pivot us into the Froakie. Could be what they go with. Because then they can one-shot the Froakie. Now I feel bad for having the Froakie down. He may be a liability for us. Since we don't have another Gyarados built up. Even the Frogadier evolution could be one-shot by the Starmie. I think they were thinking about... Okay, we still have the Drudagon online, so that's good. So it's not what I thought. Let's go with the Magikarp. Then maybe we have Gyarados to pivot into when needed. Build the Gyarados. You would not believe me if I told you we were going to survive with the 10 HP Drudagon. Let's go with the Retreat. The Gyarados. Now if they have Sabrina, we're free. The issue came if they had 2 points and they did Sabrina, then they could knock one out. Otherwise, we don't really care. Everything on the back line now is expendable except for this Gyarados. And so we knocked that one out. They don't have anything that can survive one of our attacks. And so it all comes down to them needing to have a couple of points plus a pivot on this turn, or finding something or some way to stall us, which I just don't think they're going to have access to. Because the 90 damage on Starmie is great. Even if they could do the 80 on Articuno, it's not going to be enough. They did have the Sabrina. That is what they were like. They took a while on that previous turn. That's what they were kind of mulling through and thinking about. Let's go ahead, and I could go okay. I was gonna say I could go Drudagon, but then we might not be able to retreat him. But we have the X speed plus the energy attachment. We do get the retreat. We will take it. And they had a pretty good start. They had the Starmie, they had the Articuno, and we were just able to outlast until our big behemoth came online. We're gonna go ahead and take it. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, we are going second. We get the first energy attachment. We don't have any draw mechanics. We don't have another basic, but we have a lot of ways to potentially draw. Double Pokeball, Professor's Research, or we just find or draw into a basic. That's what we're hoping for, is just being able to draw into the basic. We're going against a fire deck, so Moltres, either Arcanine or Arcanine Charizard or Arcanine Mew. There's a couple of different like good versions out there right now, and my favorite is the Arcanine Mew. I think it does phenomenally. They get the Pokeball, so let's see. We'll find out which direction they're going. Charmander. So it is the Charizard line. Interesting. Okay, Professor's Research. Good. Magikarp as early as possible. Froakie or Ninja. Oh, man. If you've been around for a minute, if you've been watching the video, you know how awful my track record is for drawing into one of the pieces. I'm always missing one of the pieces for the Greninja line. It feels like it's just like a running gag at this point. So we have the double Pokeball, or we just draw into a basic. Frogadier would be okay, but it wouldn't be the best either. Like in this matchup, or in this match, we're really going to need to lean onto the Gyarados. So the coin flips. Okay. Oh my goodness. An absolute whiff fest. Backup Gyarados. Good, you know, just in case. Double Misty. We got the Leaf for if we ever need to retreat out. We're just needing a little bit of luck here. We're needing not even luck. We're just needing a usable draw. If we draw the gear, if we top deck Greninja next, we're retreating. I don't care if I don't care. I don't care if we have a chance or not. If we draw Greninja next, I'm leaving. Whoa. Okay, they do make it up there. Big on the Charmander, but they didn't evolve into Charmeleon. Beautiful. Look at that little guy. He hasn't done any harm in his entire life, but he's about to. Couldn't throw out the Misty. See if maybe we can get super lucky with 3 heads or even 2. 2 heads would get us within range next turn. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. So Magikarp is now a Gyarados, ready, level threat. We are ready to go. We have Leaf to pull out the Druddigon. And we also had a backup Misty if we needed to next turn. Actually, no. Since we need the Leaf, we wouldn't be able to do backup Misty. Just kidding. Hopefully they are about ramped up and ready to go because we are about to bring the absolute thunder down. The Arcanine, but that's not what they built up. They built up the Charmander. If there's no Charmeleon, we win. And if there's a Charmeleon, there's still a chance that we win. It's just not an instant win. No Charmeleon. All right. We should be fine. Arcanine can't take us out in one shot. The Charizard, I think, could with the 200 damage attack. And so it'd have to be like really at unique timing to be able to get him down. Even if they have the Arcanine like ready to attack next turn. Like it's... We take out the Moltres, we turn around, we take out the Arcanine. Just in case any like craziness happens, because sometimes there's variables that I just was not anticipating that do come into the mix. I'm gonna go ahead and play it as if we don't have a guaranteed win here. So let's go Leaf, and then I'm gonna start building up the Magikarp for a backup Gyarados if it was ever needed. I can't think of a scenario where it would be. But just in case, I always want to be prepared for the worst case scenario. Because the one thing I don't want to do is assume a victory, and then they have something that kind of blocks whatever it was that I was thinking, and then we had just kind of free-rolled the last couple of turns. So they'll smack 120, we turn around and destroy them. It's super unfortunate for them. Unless they had a way to get rid of our energy, which they don't. Charmeleon came down a touch too late. They do have Sabrina. That's fine. We can let them destroy whatever we want. And so that we don't burn or waste an extra turn, I'm going to go ahead and throw in the Froakie. Couldn't find the Frogadier to save our life. So we're just going to sacrifice the little Toad. If it comes down to it, we can retreat him out. I think they were kind of hoping we threw in Druddigon, because then it would be a little bit more difficult to retreat him out next turn unless we had some kind of, supporter. But as it is, they'll be able to take 1 token, but we'll take the rest of the game. Hey, we find the little Frogadier. The little frog that could... I'm not going to evolve or attach or do anything that we don't have to, since this is going to be for the game. Well, let's go ahead and rampage. We will take out the Arcanine, and that is going to be game. And actually, that is where I'm going to go ahead and end the video. We went on a 9-1 run. I got one game where I just couldn't find the Gyarados to save my life. Everything else, we beat. We beat Celebes. We beat Mewtwo's. We beat other water decks that had pretty good starts. We beat fire decks, which were favored, so it should happen. Overall, the deck is crazy good. It beats all of the... It can at least hold its own or beat any of the big meta decks that are out there, as long as you get some good stalling in and they don't have just an insanely fast start that kind of burns through your Druddigons before you get your Gyarados online. So we're going to go ahead and take it. Thank you guys, as always, for watching. This has been TLSG. Later, guys.